So earlier today, I saw a video about Trumper terrorists that struck here in Denver, some of the police reports, and decided to do some comedy about it. Too soon? I mean, not soon enough. But before I start, I do want to say rest in peace to all the victims of the terrorists and blessings to all the victims who survived, the survivors of his victims. I'm sorry and thank you. But anyway, on to the comedy. Um, and yeah, not too soon, not soon enough, because I've already made a bunch of videos where I'm pretty angry about it, pretty upset about it. My Antifa News Briefa videos. And I think it's right to be angry about it. But at some point, you have to try to do something else. So yeah, I'm going to try to tell some jokes, steal some jokes anyway, to lighten my own mood. This is maybe more therapy than it is funny. It's not going to be funny, maybe, but you watch Dave Chappelle, and I used to watch Dave Chappelle when he was funny, but now he's just like, I'm going to say the things that only Ben Shapiro says, but I'm going to say them on mainstream media. Oh, what's that? I'm not going to say them on mainstream media. What's that? I'm not going to say them on mainstream media. Anyway, that's why I brought my white duck for a microphone, because I made a meme years ago. Unfortunately, not enough people have seen my memes. Made a meme years ago. How do you know that the latest mass shooter is another Trump terrorist? 2, how do you know the latest mass shooter is a Trump terrorist? 2, with a picture of a bunch of white ducks going by to recall the phrase, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, must be a duck. Because they're all doing the same thing. It's all these white people with guns shooting people because they're terrorists. White guys with guns shooting people because they're terrorists, because they're Trumpers. And as soon as they get to the part about them being Trumpers, the media stops talking about them, or doesn't want to emphasize that fact, wants to be fair. It's like, we don't do that with Osama bin Laden. We're not like, well, yeah, these guys were terrorists, but, let's not blame Osama bin Laden for it. He's a rich kid who didn't get hugged enough. But that's how we're doing Trump. So we're coddling him, like we're acting like, oh, let's call, this guy that just shot up a bunch of people. They're reporting he's an alt-right extremist, terrorist. I mean, they're not calling him a terrorist yet, but they'll say he's an alt-right extremist, has an alt-right extremist views. But they're not labeling Trump in there. They're not bringing Trump into it. Again, why would you let Osama bin Laden off the hook? So why are we letting Trump off the hook? He's leading these terrorists. He's riling them up. He's getting them to spear gun their kids. It's no joke. Sorry, it's no joke. But yeah, try to say something funny about it. Treating Trump like Osama bin Laden, that's no joke. Not doing it is not funny at all. So if that's done in the future, you can look back on this and laugh and say, oh, look at him. He deserves it, but he doesn't, it hasn't happened yet. They can DEA the president of Haiti, but they didn't DEA Putin yet, or Trump. And it's like, for what? What are you leaving him out there for? To beat him in an election? He's causing terrorists to terrorize and kill people with his misinformation and his getting people upset. And then it seems like the cops are way too friendly on it too. While I'm talking about the meme and the ducks, I made that meme because back when the El Paso shooter struck, it might have been somebody who shot a bunch of people the day before the El Paso shooter. But I made the meme right around that same day, and he was a KKK Trumper terrorist. Went down to shoot Mexican people was his goal. To go to a Walmart and shoot Mexican people was what he wanted to do. And he did kill a bunch of people. And I made that meme. How do you know that this shooter is a Trumper terrorist? Before they said anything about him, because they all are. Every one of them is. They keep doing it. And we don't call it out, so it keeps happening. Then later that afternoon, they had a terrorist shooting people in Boston, and they said he was a leftist because he had some type of post or something. I don't think so. I think he was another one who they got to make some leftist posts so they could blame it, so they could balance it out. They activated another terrorist shooter to balance it out, to balance out the media coverage or something. Like, yeah, is that disgusting? Yeah, that's disgusting. Is that unbelievably abhorrent? Like, you can't even imagine somebody being that evil? Yeah, except they are. That's the problem. And if we don't even start to talk about it, then nobody will imagine them being that evil and call them out and rescue some of them from the evil themselves. Some of them maybe can't be rescued. Maybe Trump will turn on Putin. Maybe Trump will turn on Zuckerberg. Some of them can't be rescued. But some of them can be and can be rescued from themselves. So, back to good things. Man, did I ever have anything funny to say in this? Maybe I should have planned it out. Yeah, I was going to steal a Simpsons joke. That's right. Because the cops, oh my gosh, the cops were like not catching this guy. They like, when Elijah McLeod was walking home from a convenience store and they decided to murder him, and they could like pile on when he was begging for his life. See Elijah McLeod's last words. They could kill him real easy. Unarmed black guy that knew that 3 or 4 of them could kill him and then come back and take selfies smiling on the spot where they murdered him. That's the type of terrorist cops we have, at least some of them in Denver. But these cops couldn't catch up with this white supremacist guy, this Trumper guy, after he'd already murdered 3 people. Then he went and invaded somebody's home and starts murdering them. They're getting 911 calls on all these things. He's shot 3 people in one location, goes to another location, breaks in somebody's home and tries to murder them and doesn't succeed. Then he goes to another guy's home, breaks in and does succeed in murdering him. And then an unmarked police car was chasing him, but he shoots it. They both get to a dead end or something. He shoots the car and disables it somehow, supposedly. Shot the police car and disabled it. But I don't see how he shot their radio and disabled their radio. I don't see how he shot their cell phones and disabled their cell phones. Like, why weren't they calling for backup and getting more people chasing? And think about it. Usually when somebody shoots at cops, it's, all hands on deck. It's game on. Like, they all show up. So somehow they let this guy get away in a black van. So I'm thinking, oh, here's the joke I was going to steal. I'm thinking, Simpsons, Wiggum. He's like, suspect is in a black object, possibly a vehicle, possibly a van. It's like how stupid can you be? And there's not even many black vans around here that I see. You see white vans, you see Amazon vans, you see blue vans. You don't see black vans. Or if you see one, if the person's cool, they got a red stripe on it like the A-Team. It wasn't like that. It was, I haven't seen the van yet. But again, you don't see too many black vans. How hard is this thing to spot, track, and chase? So this is after shooting at cops and getting away somewhere on the highways, getting away on the streets. He shows up at another location, shoots some more people, shoots another. It's hard to keep track of who all he's shooting because he went to 8 different places and ends up killing 5 different people. And then he goes to another super populated area right next to the police station, killing people there. And they've got a storyline going that he's was attacking tattoo. He's an old tattoo parlor. He had a tattoo parlor. He's attacking people in a hit list of people that he wanted to kill because they gave better tattoos than him. Something about tattoos. And again, this reminds me of that El Paso, Boston thing. If he's a Trumper terrorist, which is what he seems like to me, from all indications, checking all the boxes, and especially if he's working in any way with the police, if they're letting him do it, because at one point the people are saying he had a police vest on, stuff like this, but also just the inept response of being able to stop a mass shooter traveling around shooting people all over the place. And the fact that the one person who finally did kill him was a female police officer, so thank you to her. And she is hopefully going to survive being shot by him. But she actually killed him, so maybe she didn't get the memo. Like when they had an Arvada terrorist, who was also probably a Trumper, they don't really tell you. But Arvada terrorist here, another Denver suburb, shot 15 people in the King Soopers. And one of them was a cop, shot and killed a cop. And the cop who showed up just shot him in the leg. You know, like a little bit of restraint, which is good. We want restraint from cops. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying usually when somebody kills a cop, they go full force and will kill you, especially if you're not a white guy. But in this case, might have been same team, Trump or terrorist. That's why you got to watch out for what's going on here when they let this guy possibly run all around doing this stuff. Like, it's not just lawsuits. That's like wrong, like investigation, like let's start turning over these police departments, turning inside out the FBI and see what they're doing. Because we got to keep in mind, this FBI just paid $180 million. Judge ordered the FBI to pay $180 million to the families of the Parkland high school shooting victims because they knew about that guy and they didn't stop him. So how many times are they doing that? And is it a mistake? Or does it just so happen that they're always letting the white supremacist terrorists do their thing? And is that a corruption within the FBI? Sure seems to be, from what I heard about an FBI whistleblower who was the only one who went to jail after blowing the whistle on the FBI for being extremely racist. And, you know, it seems like maybe the KKK has corrupted the FBI and it needs to be investigated. A lot of them need to be arrested and never let out. And maybe the institution itself needs to be abolished. You can replace it with another one, sure, whatever. Space Force, whatever. But yeah, also, here's one more joke for you. One more meme I made. Stealing my own jokes now. Woody, Buzz Lightyear, the classic Woody Buzz Lightyear pose. Buzz Lightyear's all excited. Caption is, Space Force in the streets, flat earth in the sheets. Because that's what Trumpers are. It's all a lie. It's all a hoax. It's going to unravel on itself. Hopefully it'll at least get these cops and FBI and stuff exposed so we don't have them terrorizing us anymore. I mean, the cops terrorized Bill de Blasio and mayor of New York City, Big Bill de Blasio. They terrorized him and his kids after he tried to pass some restrictions on the police. They terrorized him and got the restrictions undone. So the terrorists are running the show here in various, numerous, obvious ways. I saw the video of New York City police sawing into a jewelry store during the looting. So all these right-wing guys wanting to blame Black Lives Matter for looting. No, you got police officers sawing into the jewelry store to start the looting. And I saw a Russian-sponsored, you could trace it back to Russia, campaign of lying about it, saying, I'm the jewelry store owner who asked him to saw into my store. Like, it's ridiculous. If you look into it enough, and in the future people will have plenty of time to look into it, they'll all know exactly who they all were all along. And it's Putin pulling the puppet strings. So, I got no jokes. Sorry. But yeah, it's not too soon for me. I got to try to make something funny of this because it just makes me mad. Because I've been talking about it for years. Nobody's listening. The social media companies are suppressing, everything we have to say and amping up everything these terrorists have to say, making people feel like half the people agree with them. Of course, these people are going to act out. They need to have some countermeasures taken, some anti-fascist stuff out there so they know not to be like this anymore. Sorry I didn't have any jokes, or if I had any jokes, I forgot them. Because, it gets me too upset. But I'll try to come back with jokes next time. And, it seems like, some FBI stuff. Like, one of the people he killed was an activist. Was it that he was killing tattoo artists? Or was it that he was going to kill this activist? And the way they do things, they just as soon kill all these other people just to make it look like something else. That's evil. There's no milder word that's appropriate for it. It's evil. And I see them, the trolls are in my comments already on my videos talking about, well, he's just had a beef against tattoo people. Why did he have to go shoot the clerk at the hotel? It's not a tattoo person. It's just somebody he's trying to kill. He's a terrorist in a terrorist mindset. And why is anybody making excuses for him? You see these people saying, how do you know? Or Insanity doesn't know political side. Anybody could know. It's all Trumpers. It's always been Trumpers. Just look it up. Mention in comments if it's not a Trumper sometime who goes around shooting people. It's been Trumpers for years. They're terrorists. It's a terrorist ideology. You're a terrorist supporter if you support it, even if you're only supporting it for tax reasons. And when you start calling it that, so we can shut it down. Thanks for watching and sharing. Again, blessings to all the victims. Rest in peace. Let's not have any more victims. Let's stop it by arresting Trump, arresting Putin, arresting Zuckerberg, arresting everybody involved in orchestrating it, shaking out the crazies, and letting people know nobody's going to pardon you, nobody's going to protect you or cheer you on for doing this. You're only going to be hated by humanity forever, just like you will be for lying about the pandemic. So anyway, I won't get off on that rant, but thanks for humoring me and my sit-down comedy bathroom humor. And let's drop white supremacy for good and forever. Nothing against ducks, but against the white supremacist racist system we have and all the different components of it. Let's end that for good. Thank you. Have a nice day.